1.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. It's actually Friday Eve, as we like to call it here at KSAT 12, and welcome to KSAT News Now, streaming and podcasting, just doing the most.
Doing the most. Nothing is happening. All right, so this is the audacity of this story.
Yes.
San Antonio gets mostly snubbed by a national best tacos list. Keep in mind, pretty much snubbed.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
not okay.
Disrespectful.
Details.
Disrespect. We're going to talk
Details
about
later
this.
today in the show.
Yeah, and a very popular social media platform is cracking down and tightening rules on politicians and political parties ahead of the midterm elections. We will explain that story in just a little bit.
Plus, nonprofits are really needing your help, so if you're feeling a little generous, today is the start of one of the most successful giving days in the country here in San Antonio. But first.
Absolutely. First, overnight, another powerful earthquake shook Mexico. The 6.8 magnitude earthquake leaving 2 dead, causing damage to a building and setting off landslides there.
So the alarms were just after 1 a.m. and the quake was centered 31 miles southwest of Aguililla, Michoacan, but was also felt in the states of Colima, Jalisco, and Guerrero. And this is you can just imagine the anxiety. When that first one hit on Monday,
you're right.
It was expected. They're on edge, people who live in Mexico. Yeah. And although it wasn't as powerful, 6.8 magnitude, that's
miles deep, right?
Yeah,
into the
15
surface.
miles
Yeah,
deep, I believe.
absolutely. Just frightening stuff there. So according to Mexico City's mayor, the 2 people that died include a woman who fell down the stairs of her home while trying to get out, and a man who had a heart attack there.
And Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador tweeted it was an aftershock from Monday's quake, which was the 3rd earthquake to strike right on September 19th. So back in 1985, which was horrendous, and then 2017, which was devastating, and now 2022.
Yeah, and there was I was reading this article in the Associated Press. It says that the parents of children that were killed when the school collapsed back in 2017, they were actually at Mass when this happened, remembering their loved ones when the ground began to shake again. So as you mentioned, the fears, the anxieties, and just this horrible unlucky coincidence of it happening on that date, and it is really it's really unfortunate and shocking to see all of that.
Yeah, so because of the earthquake back in 1985, it is common for Mexico to have their drills for earthquakes on September 19th. So even just this year on Monday, some businesses had just concluded with their drill for earthquake when again this other one happened on Monday. So unfortunately, with the latest one that happened overnight, 2 people are dead, and there is some damages, and you see those videos again in pitch black, right? But you see the buildings shake, and it's just, and what areas like in Mexico City, for example, are the most dangerous because of the architecture or lack thereof, the rules that weren't followed. So that's why you see
infrastructure type of things. Yeah, just horrifying there, and to think that people are going through that once again. 200 buildings damaged, schools, health centers, and from those videos there, you can see there's going to be a lot of the recovery process ahead.
All right, so in other news, former President Donald Trump is on the defensive again. A federal appeals court says the Justice Department can resume its review of classified documents seized from his Florida home.
Yeah, this has been an ongoing story. The judges there did not buy the argument that former President Trump had somehow declassified the documents, and there are still concerns about national security risk.
The New York Attorney General is also suing the former president for alleged fraud. The AG said he fraudulently obtained, former President Donald Trump, fraudulently obtained loans by inflating the value of his assets on applications.
Yeah, and on top of that, I believe he's also facing lawsuits for some other, what the AG is describing as other schemes that involved some of this activity. So this is something we'll continue to follow. And, a lot of people were saying that part of this investigation was playing into some of the midterms coming up, and that, there was a lot of political angles to this. And this is obviously something that is not going to go away anytime soon.
And I think once you get closer to elections, any topic is going to make people believe that it's because of these elections.
Yeah.
But speaking about politics,
yes.
TikTok keeps growing in popularity, right? But Politicians are catching on, trying to reach young voters. However, TikTok is saying, no thanks, not here.
Yeah, really interesting story here. So TikTok has rolled out stricter rules for political accounts in the United States. TikTok says they're now requiring mandatory verification for these accounts, but also the platform is banning all political fundraising.
While the push for verification started yesterday and it's on a trial basis, it'll actually take a couple of weeks to crack down on politicians monetizing on TikTok. So this means they won't be able to ask TikTok users for donations, nor will they be able to direct them to their fundraising websites.
Yeah, these changes apply to governments, politicians, and political parties, and they won't have access to features like gifting, tipping, and e-commerce. They also will not be eligible for the Creator Fund, which compensates creators for their content.
TikTok will also completely remove all advertising tools from accounts belonging to politicians and political parties, and that's because they already have a policy that prohibits political advertising, but now they're just totally doing away with any tools that they may have been able to use for that. So
yeah, and we have seen just the power and influence that social media has when it comes to politics and anything regarding donations and campaigns and things of that nature. So TikTok saying that it is staying steadfast in its quest to remain first and foremost an entertainment platform.
And boy, is it entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay, so today is a big day for several nonprofit groups in the San Antonio area because it's the Big Give Day.
Yeah, this is cool. The 24-hour marathon of giving and donating starts officially at 6 p.m. tonight and runs through tomorrow. Hundreds
of San Antonio nonprofits depend on funds from the day to continue services here in the community.
All right, so get this. The Big Give started all the way back, I say all the way back, in 2014 and has helped local nonprofits raise more than $35 million. And you can find more information on how to donate right now at KSAT.com. And I know you have a special shout out to one nonprofit you wanted to mention.
So Conjunto Heritage Taller, they are focused on teaching kids not just music theory of conjunto music, which is very new, but also helping preserve instruments like the accordion, el acordeon. So I love that organization. They're actually having a big event tonight at Dakota Ice House. And it's a concert, acoustic concert, and it's really just to thank the donors and thank the community. So that'll be really cool. And so nonprofits get really creative in doing like these events for people who donate or just to get their name out there. So tonight, that concert happening at Dakota Ice House.
So I was looking through this list, and it is always surprising to me at how many of these nonprofits you basically kind of run into throughout your daily life. I mean, there's pet shelters, tons of those. You mentioned cultural efforts there, and ministries, things that resource centers. So yeah, there are a ton of things there. So you'd be surprised when you go on the list and be like, oh my God, yeah, I've communicated with this group, or I know someone who is part of this nonprofit. So yeah.
Okay, and then just
shout out to the pets.
Yeah. So I said Dakota Ice House, but it's Dakota Eastside Ice House on Hackberry. All right, now to weather.
Yes.
Good morning.
Now to weather. Good morning, you guys.
It's been hot.
Hasn't it though? This week has been kind of miserable, especially considering that today we start the season of fall.
And you wouldn't guess.
You wouldn't guess. So if you're a big pumpkin spice latte fan, or at least really wanting to kick off more of that fall spirit, definitely on the ice side today.
Still iced coffee.
Probably the way to go, because it's going to be very hot out there into this afternoon. But along with the spirit of kicking off fall, our trivia question today. So while we experience the autumnal equinox here in the northern hemisphere, that's the event that kicks off the fall season, what does the southern hemisphere experience? Is it the vernal equinox, the winter solstice, the summer solstice, or do they also experience the autumnal equinox?
I appreciate the last option. First of all,
thank you. Thank you.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why do you appreciate the last option?
Because it could have been a trick question.
Oh, okay.
It could have been. So we just decided to throw that one in there.
Good analysis on the fly.
I hope you get it wrong.
I'm totally going to get it right. And I'm going to go through my explanation as to why I'm going to get it right.
I know he was very confident behind the scenes there. I don't know. A.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't even know what.
I have no scientific reasoning for this.
Oh, I am so wrong.
Here's the thing, is that I think it's C.
Okay.
Because the great Manu Ginobili, when he retired, He's from Argentina, and one of his reasons for retiring from the Spurs is that he wanted to spend his summers, which are winters here, in Argentina with his family, and that's usually during the NBA season. So that's why I'm going to see Manu Ginobili. Let's do it, baby.
That's definitely
Oh my God.
a good explanation. Well, okay, so here, you were right about the seasons being reversed, right? So while we're actually going from summer to fall, the southern hemisphere going from winter to spring.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I was right. If you didn't get it, I was right.
It was a good try.
Yeah,
it was most definitely a good try. Your reasoning was good. You're able to back up your thoughts. So yes, 8:04 p.m. later this evening is when we are going to see the fall equinox actually really kick off. And essentially what's happening here is the sun is passing directly over the equator, which means both the northern and the southern hemisphere typically see the same amount of sunlight for all of the latitudes later this evening. So after the autumnal equinox here in the northern hemisphere, what we're going to find is days start to become shorter than nights. That's why the sun is going to start coming up later. If you've probably noticed over the past couple of weeks, the sun also is setting a lot earlier as well, all the way up until daylight saving time. Then we'll start to see those sunsets even earlier in the 6 o'clock hour, especially as we get ready to kick off the winter season. But yes, it's not going to feel like fall at all today. There's a big area of high pressure just anchored over the Lone Star State this Thursday. You can see that's deflecting all of the active weather around the northern and western edge of that big upper level ridge. So because of that, we just have scenes like this, not even a cloud in the sky as we take a look outside with live cam, plenty of sunshine as well as blue sky, and all of that is really going to help our temperatures warm up. 85 in San Antonio, 88 in New Braunfels this hour. It's 83 out in Beeville. So as we head into the day today, this afternoon, those temperatures continue to crank up. Upper 90s expected, very close to that triple digit mark here in San Antonio. Plenty of mostly clear skies, temperatures falling into the 80s later this evening. We're expected to sit just below that century mark here in San Antonio this afternoon. Of course, we will keep plenty close eyes on that. 97 in Hondo and 95 out in Uvalde. The good news is with some slightly drier air mixing in the afternoons, the heat index value likely won't be as big of a factor. So it could be worse, but it still is going to be plenty hot. More of the same continues as we wrap up the work week tomorrow and head into the upcoming weekend. Really no rain in the forecast into the upcoming weekend for most. You can see this was the drought monitor update that was released last week. We got a new one in earlier this morning. A few very minor changes across the western reaches of the area, but really for most, we're pretty much the same. Briefly want to get you a look at the tropics because we've got plenty out there. This is Hurricane Fiona that continues to churn out in the Atlantic. It is expected to move northward here into the upcoming weekend, passing just west of Bermuda tonight. The good news is that stays east of the United States, but is expected to impact portions of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland this weekend. Tropical storm Gaston out in the Atlantic, no issues there. A couple of waves in the eastern Atlantic, but what we are also keeping eyes on is this wave in the southern Caribbean. It's got a high chance of development over the next 5 days, but it is still way too early to determine exactly where this is going to go. It is expected to move through the Caribbean, but it hasn't even formed yet. So we just got to take that as it comes with the data that comes in over the next several days. No huge issues for us here right now, but something to definitely keep eyes on. The big story here at home is going to be the heat into the upcoming weekend, but the good news is, guys, is that early next week, it is looking like we'll see a weak front come through here. It won't do a ton for us, but some more comfortable mornings certainly possible. And then those temperatures definitely not as bad as what we're expecting this weekend.
So yesterday during one of my interviews, the gentleman I was speaking to, he was like, oh my gosh, next week we get a cold front. And I was like, wait. Let me be clear.
Yeah.
Just a few degrees.
It's not going to be sweater weather all day, every day.
There you go. That's how we narrowed it down.
But some comfortable mornings certainly possible. Some drier air moves in as well, so that helps with what it feels like, just that comfortableness factor. And I mean, I'll take a 90, 91. any day of the week over a 99. So
Absolutely.
it's at least, we're in the right direction. We're going in the right direction. So it'll be good.
Mia, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you very much, Mia. Appreciate it. So yeah, anyone out there who's going to be taking the field tonight, a lot of high school football action taking place over the next couple of days. Make sure you hydrate. Drink water.
Yeah, and also this weekend there are plenty of events going on. You have Head for the Cure 5K that's happening on Saturday, and then you have the UTSA versus Texas Southern game happening Saturday afternoon. So, and then there's another one. I had heard of a mariachi festival event
I thought I
happening.
heard about that too. Yeah.
And I'm trying to Google it right now.
Yeah,
but
definitely, definitely a lot of things on the calendar. So yeah, make sure that you guys take precaution out there if you're headed to any of these events. Should be a good weekend.
All right. So how seriously do you take Yelp reviews or list?
How
In
serious
my
do you take
case, very. Like I go
Really?
anywhere and it's the first thing I do. I check on Yelp, but I really go by the pictures. I don't really trust when they're like, service was horrible.
Yeah.
Because that's just,
Yeah. I never read them.
No?
No,
Ever?
never, no.
I
no.
do. I mean,
just,
but it
what?
also depends
I'm
with what.
Fly by the seat kind of guy. Just
Hold
show
on,
up.
I will say it does depend with what. If it's for tacos, no,
Okay.
I will not trust Yelp.
Okay.
But
Well,
if it's like a new restaurant, I will check out the pictures.
All right. Well, I'm glad you said that because Yelp just released its list of the top 100 taco spots in the U.S. and San Antonio has only one, yes, only one restaurant food spot on there. The disrespect.
Look, I have a lot of things to say, so I'll just stick to the script here. Sangria on the Verge came in at number 51 on the list. And Austin, they have 3 spots on there, including one in the top 5.
Granny's
Out of
tacos.
all the tacos and taquerias in San Antonio, just one?
Yeah. Well, here's sort of the
Here's my plug for
reasoning.
Taquitos
Okay, here's
Avenue.
kind of the explanation for this. So Yelp said that the list was created by identifying businesses in the restaurant and food categories that had a large concentration of reviews mentioning the word taco on there. I don't get that. So you just review
So you have
taco,
to-
and that's it? You get on the list?
I guess that makes sense. Like if you go to a burger place and you say, "Oh, XYZ burger was so good,"
Oh, okay.
you know?
Yeah,
so
I guess
their,
that makes sense.
Their,
Okay.
I don't know, house taco
Right.
is so
the
good.
Yelpers not going to the taquerias
Gosh,
around here?
I guess no. I guess not. Well, those were then ranked using a number of factors, including the total volume and ratings of reviews mentioning taco. Didn't we just say that?
It was kind of, it's a very, kind of weird sort of system that they have
I'm not
going on
impressed
here.
with this list, Yelp.
No, not at all, not at all. So
But
a
like
couple
I
of
said,
comments.
I don't trust it with tacos. Like,
Oh, so that's just the one. But
no,
everything
usually
else
the good
you usually
taquerias
do
are
fine.
like word of mouth, you know.
Great point there,
Yeah.
because we had a few people comment on KSAT on our article online, and it says, this one guy, Guitar Man says, who cares? The best restaurants are the ones that fly under the radar, not the one that guy is going to roll up at.
Amen. Amen.
And let's see, some of the very best Mexican food and taco places I've ever had were from hole-in-the-wall establishments, very authentic food and flavor.
Yeah, a friend and his wife are coming into town next weekend, and they were asking me about, he said, I want just like authentic Mexican food.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I can't give you like a Yelp page or anything like that for those. So
Yeah.
anyways,
Well,
you guys.
we disagree.
Yeah, San Antonio has some of the, I won't say but some of the best tacos, especially when you're talking about breakfast ones. Come on.
Absolutely, yeah. So, but we do have this story on KSAT.com. If you want to chime in, we of course always appreciate that. As far as today, we appreciate you guys being with us on KSAT News Now on a Thursday.
See you tomorrow, Friday at 11 a.m.